Today, we're going to tell a detective story. Seriously, it's about hunting for something that's totally invisible, but it's hiding in pretty much every building, and it's costing us an absolute fortune. We are talking about wasted energy and how you can become a kind of energy detective to unlock some huge savings and, help build a healthier planet along the way. So, every good story starts with a problem, right? Well, our story begins with a massive dilemma that affects our wallets and our world. And trust me, the scale of this thing becomes shockingly clear when you see the data. Okay, so this chart from NASA, it gets right to the heart of it. It shows global temperatures for over a century, and you can't miss that sharp upward curve in recent decades. Now, this isn't just an environmental issue, it's an economic one too. That rising line is directly tied to how we use and, more importantly, how we waste energy. And that is the connection that matters most. See, the fossil fuels powering so much of our world are also producing the emissions driving that temperature trend. So that means every single kilowatt hour of electricity we waste, every bit of heat that's just escaping from a window, it's all part of the problem. Wasted energy, well, that's the clear villain in our story.
But where there's a villain, there's always a hero. And in our story, that hero is the energy manager, a kind of detective who does way more than just turn off the lights. They use a systematic approach, a specialized toolkit, to hunt down waste exactly where it's hiding.
So this is what we're actually talking about. Energy management isn't just about, conserving. It's a science. It's the strategic use of engineering and economics to slash energy costs without sacrificing performance one bit. It's really about being smart with every single watt. Okay, so picture this. You're standing in a building. You know energy waste is lurking somewhere in the shadows. You know it's costing you money, but where do you even start looking? How does our detective find that first crucial clue? They start with an energy audit. This is the cornerstone of all energy management. It's the systematic investigation that tells the detective exactly where the energy is going and where the biggest opportunities for savings are just waiting to be found. And an audit isn't just a one-and-done thing. The investigation actually deepens through different levels. It starts with a simple level 1 walkthrough. You're just looking for the easy fixes. From there, it can escalate to a level 2, which means really digging into the data, the energy bills. And for the really big projects, you've got a level 3 or even an investment-grade audit that gives you all the deep financial analysis you need to justify major upgrades. Of course, any good detective is only as good as their tools. And we're not talking about flashlights and magnifying glasses here. Energy auditors use some seriously sophisticated equipment to make the invisible visible. I mean, an infrared camera can literally see heat leaking from a building. A power quality analyzer can diagnose the health of an entire electrical system. These tools gather the hard evidence needed to crack the case. All right, so our detective has the tools, they've got the process, now it's time to go hunting. So where do they usually find the biggest culprits of energy waste? Let's look at a couple of classic examples. This is just a fantastic example. On the left, you've got old-school fluorescent lighting. On the right, a modern LED retrofit. I mean, just look at those numbers. Power consumption drops by a staggering 75%, from 144 watts down to just 36. And what's crazy is you actually get more light, not less. This is the definition of a total win-win. Okay, here's another huge culprit, electric motors. They are everywhere, running pumps, fans, you name it. An older motor might only be, say, 88% efficient, which means it's just wasting 12% of its energy. A new premium motor, it can be over 94% efficient. Now, that 6% jump might not sound like much, but when a motor runs for thousands of hours a year, it adds up to massive savings. And that really brings us back to the bigger picture, doesn't it? Every upgraded motor, every swapped out light bulb, it goes way beyond just one building's utility bill. As this quote suggests, each little action really does contribute to conserving our shared resources for absolutely everyone. So we've seen the problem and the process for finding the solutions. Now for the most exciting part, the payoff. And we're not just talking about a few dollars saved here and there. The returns on smart energy management, well, they can be astronomical. Let's just break down the numbers from a real-world case study. This project involved installing something called variable frequency drives. You can think of them as smart controls for motors. The project cost about 21,400 pesos. The payoff? Yearly savings of nearly 6,000 pesos and 80,000 kilowatt hours of energy saved. It paid for itself in less than 4 years. And that last number, the internal rate of return, or IRR, that's huge. At 25%, that's an incredible return on investment, way higher than the average stock market return. It's the kind of thing most businesses can only dream of. And the payoff? It isn't just financial. That same project also prevented over 3,500 kilograms of CO2 from entering the atmosphere every single year. This brings us completely full circle, connecting our detectives' work right back to that global challenge we saw in that very first NASA chart. So what this really shows is that energy waste is pretty much everywhere, but it's not invisible, not if you know how to look. A single project in a single building can unlock thousands in savings and prevent thousands of kilos of emissions. And that leaves us with one final, really powerful question. If this much potential is hiding in just one building, what's hiding in yours?